Good morning.
Good morning.
First, I want to thank you for taking the time and do this interview. It will help me very much with my class for the ECE program that I'm taking at St. Petersburg College. My name is Lena, and I know I've known you because you are a family member of our parish and our school, and I know you've had two children that have gone through, and then Natalie, she's your daughter, is right now in the ECE for the BK program. So, the purpose of this interview is just to find out how much you like the school, things that you think have been have made a difference in the schooling level that your daughter has reached, and also academically, how good of an impact the community has been. At a personal level, they have to do with your daughter, and as well, on the family level. Okay, the first question is, what do you think about your involvement in your child's education? And how do you think your involvement impacts the overall development of your child in the school?
Well, I would say, especially at the early childhood level, the school and the teachers are really communicative, which I think is important when they're that little, especially from my kids were never in daycare or anything prior to being in EC3 and EC4. So I wanted to know what they were doing and how they were doing and things like that. So definitely, I think the involvement of the parents, and we get an outline every month of these are the things that we're going to be focusing on in the different areas, and these are the fun things that are coming up, whether it be like a letter day or the fire truck visit that just happened at our school, things like that. I also did have an opportunity to serve as room parent when my older son was in the early childhood. So for me, I do think that the parent involvement is really critical, especially when they're younger. I think that the teachers and the parents sort of working in conjunction with each other, and parents being able to reinforce at home what's happening in the classroom makes a big impact.
Could you give me a little bit of background of the early childhood setting that within the school, and if it's just a school or the school belongs to a bigger community, so that we have a better understanding how everything functions?
Sure. So do you mean like for OLL, how our school is set up? Yeah. So essentially the youngest kids can start is 3 years old, and they have either a half day or a full day option. And then we also have the 4-year-old room in terms of the early childhood, still also half day and full day. And one thing that's nice about our early childhood as opposed to others that I'm familiar with is that because we're connected to the school that goes all the way up through 8th grade, the younger kids have some different opportunities that wouldn't necessarily be afforded to them at a smaller center. So just different things that happen at the school. I know that every week they have a meetup with their buddy who's in an older grade, and I think that's beneficial for the little kids, but also for the older students. And of course, our school, we get a lot of students or families who are parish families maybe and started out with a young baby and things like that, and then end up coming here.
So what do you think of the environment and the growth and development of your child? Like, what impact do you think, what has had the most impact on your daughter's development within the early childhood classroom? Is it just the educational setting that they have, or is it very inclusive as far as like we also integrate, the school also integrates the parish and the faith formation within the educational part?
It's definitely, for my daughter, it has been both. So we already were a family who went to Mass and prayed at home and things like that. But in terms of the Catholic component, that has increased tenfold for her. She will come home and say, Mom, this is what I prayed about today at school, or this is the new prayer that I learned, things like that. And I think that for her, developing her own spiritual awareness, separate sort of from her parents, is really important. And I think that that's something I can see already is her initiative in that versus like us saying, well, this is what we're going to do now. Now she'll say, oh, Mom, we're going to pray before we eat, things like that. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
You mentioned you got a chance to be the room mom.
Mm-hmm.
What is the role specifically of the room mom in regards of all the activities that
Mm-hmm.
we tend to celebrate for the children?
Absolutely. So especially in early childhood, there's lots of parties, a party for every holiday, and then some made-up holidays like pajama day and different things like that. So usually the room mom would assist the teacher in, oh, we have a special snack for this, or like if it's the Halloween party, we do some fun decorations or a craft maybe that's on theme with the particular holiday. So that's kind of the main role of the room mom, and in my view is to really assist the teacher with any projects or parties, and then also just to help communicate to the rest of the class.
Right. Do you think that her classes involve a lot or to some degree, play-based lessons or activities that would correlate with the academic part?
I do. I think that there's definitely a change. It seems like in the 3-year-old room, it's a lot more of the play-based activities, and it changes a little once they get into 4, just to a little more structure and kind of trying to prepare them, I think, for the kindergarten setting. But it does seem like, at least from what I'm aware, there's a certain degree of play-based learning.
Okay, how do you feel about that? Do you find it that is challenging, or it just eases up, your child into what is coming up for her?
I don't know. I mean, at least for Natalie, she has been very receptive to it, but she's definitely a kid who's okay with structure and with okay, we have to sit still now type things. I do see how some of the more rigid things could be hard for a student who is not as inclined to those, same habits.
Do you find that the school has enough resources to offer to parents or to you if you were going through a difficult situation and on a household, or that Natalie, would be in need of special, assistance per se, due to her behavior or lack of, being able to keep up with her academics? Do you think the school offers that to parents?
I do. I feel as though I have had some interaction and help from the resource teacher with my older son, and I feel like they've been very hands-on and very proactive. I also like that the school offers screenings for, I know in the early childhood they automatically, as long as you sign the waiver, have a screening from a speech pathologist, and things of that nature to try to help and catch any type of developmental issues or any problems like that early on. So I do feel like they have good resources for parents.
Right. And I also heard you say that, the avenues that they have of communication, from parents to, teacher-parent, relationship is very open. Is there anything that you would think that it could improve, or maybe that you feel it's just too much of what they requiring for you to do as a parent? Or do you feel that it's never just too much for you as a parent having a child of this age to have as much information, communication open?
For me, I do like that level of communication. I know that for some people, if you're getting an email from the teacher, plus you're getting, weekly updates from the school and different things like that, I could see how that might be a lot. But I would rather have the information twice than, miss it or something like that.
Yeah.
So for me, that has not been a problem.
All right. I think that's all about my questions for
Okay.
today. I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.